So I'm sitting here on this beautiful fall day with some freshly harvested dandelion roots. I like to let the dandelions hang out in my gardens as much as possible throughout the whole season. And then in the fall, I'll dig some of them up. By leaving them in the ground throughout the season, they help to nourish the garden. They bring up lots of calcium and other trace minerals into the soil, help to feed the plants, and also aerate the soil because they have these deep tap roots that go down and create these pockets of air around them so that there can be more flow of nutrients, so that the earthworms that are really important in feeding all the other plants in the garden can get up and down more easily throughout the soil. So the dandelions are helpful in many ways to have in the garden as long as they're not taking up all the space. So in the spring, I dig some of them out to make room to plant stuff, but then in the fall, I do a bigger harvest. The roots have a chance to get pretty big and fat throughout the season, sometimes way bigger than this, and they are tremendous medicine and nourishment for us. So all the trace minerals that they take up from the soil, they carry in their roots and also in their leaves. Oops, I got some grass in there. So the leaves make a really nutritious green that can be added to salads or used as a cooked green. I like to mix it in with my potato salads. It's pretty tasty that way. Little bit bitter, but you can add, if you do it in a salad, add a little something sweet to your salad dressing, like maybe some berries or some honey or something, and it balances it out pretty nicely. Or even just, you know, a good supply of grated carrots and beets, which are pretty sweet, will help to balance it out in the leaves and the salad. The roots are a wonderful medicine in so many different ways, and I'll just kind of briefly talk about that. They are, the dandelion roots are known as a liver herb. They really help to cleanse and stimulate a stagnant liver, and in the process, that helps to regulate many functions within the body. Through cleansing and stimulating liver clearance, dandelion root helps to support healthy digestion, helps to reduce constipation, and make sure you're clearing out the wastes out of your body that you need to get rid of in a timely manner so they're not building up, causing inflammation, causing growing toxicity, causing all kinds of stuff you don't want. They help to also balance the blood sugar through supporting the liver function. So dandelion root, in my practice, I've worked with a lot of different people who are either have blood sugar imbalance to some extent or are actually diabetic, and through food, diet, exercise, and herbs, we can often help to regulate it without the need of any other support. We can help to regulate blood sugar. Dandelion is a fabulous herb for that. And in addition, you can see that when I break, let's see if I can do this here, if I break a little piece in the root so it's nice and white on the inside, it starts to get this sort of, it's maybe a little later in the season for it, but there's this white sap that starts to come out from the inner white area when you break it open. And if you harvest the dandelion a little bit slightly earlier in the season than now, maybe depending on where you are, but let's say anywhere between late August and late October, if you dig a dandelion at that time in the fall, this white sap that comes out of the root will be in pretty good concentration. You'll get quite a bit of it. And that white sap is a starch. It's known as inulin, and it is very tied up with supporting blood sugar balance. So you'll get quite a bit of inulin from dandelion roots harvested at this time of year. That inulin is also a wonderful prebiotic. It nourishes the gut flora that help you to properly digest your food, that help you to take up the nutrients that you need in your digestion, and then in the process help to, again, clear out the wastes that you don't want and fight off infections, because the more of your healthy gut flora that you have proliferating, the more you have ability to fight off unhealthy bacteria, microbes that can show up in the gut, can show up anywhere in the body. So dandelion helps to support the immune system as well. And so to work with dandelion, what I do is this time of year, dig up these roots. I'm going to bring them in. I'm going to wash them. I got a whole bunch. I got a bucket full actually, but I've got a few on display here. So we're going to wash them and get rid of any of the dirt, and then chop them up as tiny as you can. And then I lay them out on either on a cotton sheet, or on an old window screen, or just on paper, like on a paper bag or something like that, in a warm, dry place where there's a good amount of airflow and not under direct light. That will help to keep them better preserved, make them last longer. So until they get dry, so that they're fully dried. If you chewed on one, it would give a bit of a crunch. Then you can make tea with them by putting, let's say, depending on how small you chop them up, anywhere from a teaspoon to a tablespoon in a pot of like 1 to 2 cups of water on the stove, and let that simmer for about, on low heat, as low as possible, for about 10 to 20 minutes. You'll get a pretty bitter tea. The bitter flavor is going to help support your digestion, help manage your blood sugar, help to cleanse your liver, all those things. So it's a good idea to keep the bitter flavor and not sweeten it. But one of the things I like to do to make the flavor a little more palatable is sometimes I'll add a cinnamon stick in there with it, and that makes it delicious. It brings a sweetness that still doesn't overpower the bitter effect of the dandelion. Also, some chopped up ginger in there makes it really nice and warms the whole experience, so it makes it a nice kind of winter tea. So that's a really good way to take it. Another thing I do is I just take that fresh chopped up dandelion, put it in a jar, and pour some 40% alcohol, vodka or brandy are good, easy, accessible alcohol to get. Pour it over so that it's covered with it, and let that sit in with a lid on the jar in a dark space, dark cupboard or something, for about a month. Every now and then, when you think about it, come over and give it a good shake to release all that good stuff, all the dandelion medicine into the alcohol, and also just to bring some of your energy into the mix, which really helps to make a more potent medicine. So give it a good shake every now and then, or every day, whenever you think of it, and then you can strain it out after a month and you've got a dandelion root tincture. And then you can just take a small amount of that every day, like maybe a quarter teaspoon, depends who you are. Lots of people are watching this. If you have concerns about taking dandelion alongside other medications, that's something you want to potentially look into. It's generally quite safe, but it is good to know what you're taking and whether there might be contraindications, because dandelion is cleansing to the liver. It's stimulating more liver clearance. So if you're taking medications that cleanse through your liver, you want to know that they won't be cleared out faster than usual, which in many cases it's fine, but it's worth checking out if you're going to jump into a regular daily regimen of working with dandelion. And if you're pregnant, you don't want to work with dandelion root. It can be helpful for fertility, and it can be helpful later on postpartum, because it's nutritious and can help with regulating hormones if that's an issue that you need postpartum. But in pregnancy, you wouldn't want to work with dandelion because it's bitter and it's cleansing, and it's going to bring more cleansing, more detoxification to your system than you need at a time when you are growing new life and you want to be nourishing, not detoxifying. So that's what I have to say about the beautiful dandelion. And I'll say finally, you can recognize the leaves. They sometimes have a little bit of red in their stem. They've got pretty deeply grooved serrations on the edges of the leaves. And there's no hairs or anything on them. They should be fairly smooth. So you've got all the leaves growing out of one root in the ground, just coming right up from the root. No tall stalk coming up from it with flowers on it or with leaves on it. That would be probably a cousin of dandelion, a wild lettuce or a chicory or something. Dandelion will never get that. The leaves just come right up from the ground, and they stay close to the ground. So that's how you can tell dandelion without seeing those beautiful bright yellow flowers, which I've seen a few today on this October day because it's been so lovely out, but of course normally they come up in the spring. So dandelion, really wonderful gift. You don't have to see it as a weed. It's a medicine, and it's a tremendous food, and yeah, I'm very grateful for it. Thank you, dandelion.